Hello my friends, and welcome back to this walkthrough of Final Fantasy VI with me, jrpg. In the last episode, we explored Daryl's tomb and found our sweet, sweet airship, the Falcon. At this point, we have a lot of side quests on our list, and realistically could tackle them in any order we want, but I'm going to go ahead and follow the bird we saw into Maranda. Alright, let's go ahead and talk to everyone, as usual. This really fast guy's going to say, I used to be a thief. But one day I uncovered a secret so awesome, I had to run and hide. Now, we don't know what that is, and he's not going to tell us. But this guy says, a knight came through here recently. He was amazing, but his heart was full of chaos. When he can cope with his pain, he'll be the mightiest warrior alive. Now, we know somebody who sounds like that, right? But this guy here's going to say, a spell ago, some oddball came strolling through here. Kept calling people thou. Now we know exactly who it is, don't we? Now, before we talk to everyone else, let's stop in the armor shop because there's going to be a bunch of things I want to buy in here. But in order to afford them all, we're going to have to sell some stuff first. Now, let's see. I want to sell all these golden shields. 5 green berets. 10 seems a little excessive. And we can get rid of our plumed hats. We've got 3 of those. And that will give me exactly enough to buy everything I want. So let's go ahead and get 3 crystal shields. 2 crystal mail. And the dark gear right here. We'll go ahead and hit Optimum, 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 and give Celeste the shield. And now let's go ahead and do a bunch of menuing. First things first, I want to put Sabin in front because now it's relatively obvious that we're looking for Cyan, and they had that shared experience on the Phantom train. And then let's go ahead and switch some espers around. So Setzer, I want to get off of Modwin and give him Stray. Celeste can be switched to, let's say, Zone Seek. We're going to be getting some levels up soon, and she isn't even done with it, so that's just perfect. Sabin can go ahead and switch to Phantom. Just a little bit of extra MP to get those extra cure spells. Why not? And then Edgar, we do have Learning Fire too, but I think I'm going to switch him to, let's say, Seraphim to learn some healing magic, right? Looks good to me. Okay, and then one last thing is we don't need the ribbon anymore, so let's go ahead and give Setzer some earrings, and let's get back to it. Now this lady up here is going to say, I've learned a lot about our new world from the thieves and travelers that have come through here. What shall I talk about? And she's going to helpfully show us the location of Narsh the Velton Dome Castle, so let's go ahead and take a look. There's Narsh, and I will definitely want to be visiting there and seeing what's become of it. And here's the Velt. And finally, Doma Castle. And since we're looking for Cyan, this one's interesting to note. We'll definitely want to keep that in mind. Now let's talk to everyone else. This guy says, you know that guy in Zozo who says this place is dangerous? He's the only one guy in that town who tells the truth. Maybe he can help you. And I think he will be helping us. This woman says your own past can be your worst enemy. Friends, family, gotta let them all go. Now that sounds a little bit nihilistic, but the people in this world have really been going through it, so I can sort of understand what she's saying. This woman over here says, recently Lola has been receiving a lot of letters. Must be that guy in Molblez. However, we know it isn't. And this guy says, I used to be a thief. I climbed the tower of Kefka's followers in spite of the danger. But I got hurt and had to turn back after the first treasure room. Now, treasure rooms always make my ears perk up, so we will want to keep that in mind, but that's not going to come until a little later. Now, let's see what's going on with Lola. Look at all these flowers. Silk flowers, beautifully made too. And let's talk to her. Lola says, look, my boyfriend in Molblez sent me all these flowers. They're all handmade of silk, and these are letters he has written to me. But we say, huh? Wasn't Molblez demolished by Kefka? Somebody else must have written these. And if we read the letter, it says, my beloved Lola, we're still busy trying to rebuild this town. If all goes well, I'll be able to come home to you soon. And we say this handwriting, it looks a lot like Cyan's, but where's he mailing them from? Lola says, could you please attach this reply to a carrier pigeon? And will we do this favor for Lola? Yes, we will. And she says thank you. And she says, I hope his reply comes soon. And I think it will come soon, but let's go ahead and attach the letter to the carrier pigeon. And away it goes. And where is the pigeon headed? Well, this town up here, surrounded by mountains, looks awfully familiar, doesn't it? I suspect it's Zozo. And with that, let's go follow it. Now, first things first, before we jump in the airship, I want to talk a little bit about Doomgaze's safety. So, Doomgaze is one of the 8 dragons, and he appears somewhere in the sky, so you run into him when you're in the airship. And he will always open the fight with level 5 Doom, so you do want to double check that not all of your party members are at a level divisible by 5, right? And Celeste is at 26, so we're safe. But before we go, there is a specific monster in the desert here I want to hunt. Let's see if we can't run into it right away. And this thing we are absolutely not ready for, so let's get out of here. The Hoover is practically a boss monster with 12,018 HP, he's weak to ice and water, can use Crush for 5 times damage, and counters with Sandstorm, which would probably kill us all. Now, hopefully this doesn't take too long. If it's gonna be uncooperative, I'll probably just cut to when we finally hit it. There he is, the Cactuar, or better known as the Cactuar. Now, he's only got 3 HP, but he has maximum defense in every category, so you want to use defense-ignoring attacks like the drill here to kill him instantly. Every other turn, he will use Blowfish, and after a while, he will use it 10 times in a row for the later named iconic 10,000 Needles. Easy peasy. But for our trouble, we get 10 whole magic points, which is nuts. Alright, with that, we can hop in the airship and head over to Zozo. And here we are already, not too far at all. And let's get in there. Alright, let's talk to the carrier pigeon, and it flies all the way up there. Now we're going to have to figure out a way to get there, but first we're going to want to find that guy. And he's going to be right over here. He'll say, climb the stairs to the building with the cafe sign on it, and you can find a path leading to Mount Zozo, which is where we're headed. With this rust red, you can open that door. Yours for 1,000 gil, and yes, we will buy it. And this is the cafe building, so let's climb to the top. Everybody in here still has the same things to say, so we're not going to worry about that. And we'll hang a right. And over here is that rusty door. The rust is dissolved. Let's head on in. Now, as you'll see in a minute, this dungeon also has a little bit of a theme, and that is going to be enemies stealing from you, and they all have really high evade, but of course that doesn't work. So let's go ahead and get these treasures in here, because these are going to be great. Okay, nice. 2 of them right away. The Ursus, which is the bear-looking one, has 2,409 HP, is weak to fire, and will run away with your gil if you don't kill them by the following turn when they steal it. And if we had luck, you can steal a sneak ring from them, which is kind of fun. I don't think I've ever seen him be unable to steal before. That's great. He pretty much always gets your gil. Anyway, the Punisher has 2,191 HP, is human so it's weak to poison, and would counter lock steal with a steal of their own, but they don't run away, so you can't really lose gil to them. Alright, so right over here, we're going to find the Ice Shield. Now, this is a very good elemental shield. It will absorb ice, negate fire damage, but it gives you a weakness to wind, which makes it a little bit of a trap for right now, so we're not going to use it right away, and also, it teaches Ice 2 at a 5 times rate. Let's keep going. Now, in here is the red cap. This is a very good helmet. It increases your HP by 25% and grants +4 vigor, +3 speed, and +2 stamina, so it's good for physical damage characters like, let's say, Edgar. Oh, yeah. Look at that HP total. He's up to 1310. And speaking of HP totals, why don't we go ahead and heal up a little bit here? That looks good to me. And now we can continue down this way. can find the Thunder Shield. Now, this is the very best elemental shield. Listen to this. It absorbs thunder, negates wind, and you get half damage from fire and ice. There's no weakness to it at all. It's just amazing. And it teaches bolt 2 at a 5 times rate. Let's go ahead and throw that on Sabin. Excellent. Look at that stat increase. Wow. All right. Now, all the way up here... Oh, Boras is new. We can leave this in. He has 4,771 HP, is weak to poison, and attacks twice per round. He's a human, so let's drop a bio on him. Is he a human? I actually don't know. He looks more like a giant to me, but what do I know? Alright, Sabin gained a level. That is just fantastic. Now here we can find the Aegis shield. This is a little bit less exciting than the elemental shields, but it is still very good with 52 magic defense and a whopping 40% magic block. Let's go ahead and throw that on Celeste. Bumps her magic block to 79%. That is fantastic. Alright, let's pop out here, where we can find the gold hairpin. This is a very good relic. It halves your MP consumption for every spell you cast. Now, it is good, but I don't usually end up using it because I like the attack buffs. That being said, if you were really trying to conserve MP, I suppose you could throw it on and then cast your healing spells. Alright, the Scrapper's new. So the Scrapper has 1,759 HP, absorbs poison, is always hasted, and can use knife for 1.5 times damage. Now, I feel like he just absorbs poison kind of randomly, just as like a gotcha, because he looks like a human like all of the other ones. But that's just the way it is, he absorbs it. Speaking of healing spells, let's go ahead and heal up Setzer a little bit. Like I said, I could maybe use the gold hairpin there, but that just seems too finicky for me. I'd rather just get it done, you know? Now, if I sound slightly apprehensive, that's because I am. And the save point right here should be a clue that we're in for it. So I'm going to go ahead and use a tent and heal everybody up, get all that precious MP back. And this is the rare occasion I am actually going to use this save point. This is going to be no joke. Alright, let's get to it and step on this switch. Now that right there, that cute little guy, is the Storm Dragon. However, he is going to be significantly less cute once we encounter him. Here we go. So the Storm Dragon, as I mentioned, is one of the 8 legendary dragons, and he has 42,000 HP and is weak to Bolt, which is a little bit confusing because you'd think it being named Storm makes it the Bolt Dragon, but it's really the Wind Dragon, so it uses several wind-based attacks, like Wind Slash, which is the same thing that Cyan's Tempest procs, but its other AoE, Rage, is non-elemental. Now, this is going to be a 2-phase fight, as we're a little bit accustomed to by now. So after 26,640 damage, Storm Dragon will start using Arrow, which is essentially Wind 3, and Cyclonic, which drops you to 1/16 of your HP total, but is highly inaccurate. And then it can also use Wind Saber for triple damage. Now, it's worth mentioning that you don't have to take this on right now. You can not release the Storm Dragon and come back later when you're at a higher level to make this fight a bit easier, but I'm taking it on right now because I don't want to backtrack later. Let me be clear, this is a dangerous thing to do, which is obviously why I saved, but with a little luck, it can be done. This is going to be a protracted fight, so let me break down what I'm doing here. Sabin is wearing the Thunder Shield, which makes him hard to kill for the Storm Dragon, as many of its attacks will do 0 damage to him. I have it set up this way because he's also one of our best healers, so if he's alive, we have a chance. Celeste is our best attacker, so with her huge magic defense and block, she's also harder to kill. Setzer's only use is Bolt 2, so we're just going to cast that with him every turn. And finally, we want to use Edgar's Drill, but we'll want to watch to see what the dragon does, because he also has access to Cure 2, and the main way you can lose is by having a Cure spell come down too late. So now that you understand how I'm approaching this fight, which essentially boils down to not using the Invis Doom exploit, We do have a little time to kill, so I have something that I want to talk about, and that is how much I love Cyan's storyline. Let's remember how we met him, which was when Kefka poisoned the river at Doma Castle. This resulted in the death of his wife and child, along with his king and essentially everyone he ever knew. Then we accompanied him on the Phantom Train, where, while it must have been extremely painful, he was able to say one last goodbye to his family. Meanwhile, there's a seemingly unrelated plotline of the injured soldier in Mobliz writing letters to his girlfriend, only to have him perish due to Kefka's light of judgment. Cyan learns of this following the apocalypse, and identifies with another soul who has lost their world at Kefka's hands. He doesn't want Lola to suffer like he did, so he invents a pleasant fiction to spare her, but in so doing realizes that the only way to overcome grief is acceptance and not denial. One of the criticisms leveled against FF6 is that the cast is overstuffed, and as a result, the plotlines can be a bit thin. While I do think there's something to this criticism, I just want to emphasize what a great plotline I think this is, and especially how incredible it is to fit something so emotionally resonant into a game juggling so many characters. Don't forget that this was, at least in America, the follow-up to Final Fantasy IV, and what an incredible achievement it was. The emotional stakes are much higher, and the storytelling is filled with interesting and memorable moments for essentially every character. I've played this game many times, and I hope you can tell what it means to me, not only as a formative childhood experience, but something I carry in my heart in adulthood as well. However, if I keep following that train of thought, I'll probably end up getting emotional, so I'll just finish by saying I'd have a hard time overstating my love for this game and Final Fantasy in general. And I'd also have a hard time overstating how much I appreciate you at home going on this journey with me. I really appreciate everyone who watches and comments, and I really cannot thank you enough. Anyway, hopefully we're getting close to winning this fight, and if you've been paying attention, we have gotten at least a few very lucky breaks. I mean, the Storm Dragon using Arrow is not lucky, but there's been a few fortunate missed attacks, and then that physical attack right there is also insanely lucky. It didn't drop Setzer, and it could have been much, much worse. So I'm feeling pretty good here. I think we're going to be able to do it, but let's see. Alright, all my cure spells came out, so that's good. We're in pretty good shape. Here comes the Cyclonic. And it missed everyone. Look at that. Alright. Yes! Wow. Okay. I was stressed out, but we did it. And for our trouble, we get 10 magic points, and we get the Force Armor, which gives 30% magic block and half damage from Fire, Ice, Bolt, Wind, and Earth. And there are only 7 dragons left. Let's go ahead and throw that armor on Celeste, because I think this is just awesome. You combine these two, your magic block jumps to 109%. Seems pretty good to me. Now, let's go ahead and use another 10, because that was really, really taxing. Oh, I'm so relieved that's over. I really had, like, maybe a 50-50 chance against this thing in practice, but it can be done, and I did want to show that. And now, right this way, is a new enemy formation we can leave in. So these are Luridans. They have 2079 HP, are weak to fire and wind, and can use their Harvester ability to heal status ailments, and their Kitty ability, which is not only cute, but it also grants haste. Oh, and Chocobot missed there because I forgot to mention they have auto float status for some reason, even though they seem to be little pyramid bugs on the ground. But there you have it, no problems there. And in here, we're going to find these flowers that look very familiar. Let's go ahead and read this letter on the table. It says, "Dear Lola, I am writing to beg for your forgiveness. I am guilty of perpetuating a terrible lie. I have only now realized the error of my ways. I hope I can correct a great wrong. Your boyfriend, who you thought was in Mobliz, passed away some time ago. I have been writing in his stead. We humans tend to allow the past to destroy our lives. I implore you not to let this happen. It is time to look forward, to rediscover love, and embrace the beauty of life. You have so much of life left to live, Cyan. And you can totally see how Cyan would relate to this person. Now, this treasure box is locked for now, but there he is. The world before the fall. Delightful is the light of dawn, noble is the heart of man. And we say, Cyan! Cyan says, hey, you're alive? Cyan. Cyan says, I shall go with you. I shan't leave the world as it is. But how did you find me? Well, wait, tell me you didn't read my letters. And Cyan is going to hurriedly try to hide all of the evidence of what he's been doing. But then he notices the flowers up top and tries to get those down as well. But he says they're merely a diversion of mine. Yeah, good save, Cyan. And we say, Cyan, these flowers are gorgeous. And Cyan says, this is an outrage. But he goes, seriously? And we have a good laugh about it. He says, I learned of that poor girl when I passed through Maranda. When I heard that she sent a letter each day but never received any replies, something inside me snapped. As I wrote to that girl, I realized I was very much like her. I was looking behind, full of despair. My eyes were closed, and then something changed. I bumped into Sir Gao in Maranda. He said he had to become stronger if he was to face Kefka. He probably returned to the Veld. Yeah, he probably did. He loves the Veld. And now if we want to open that treasure box, we have to pop back outside and find this. The key to Cyan's treasure chest. And inside it, we say, well, why? A child could use this machine. This is a joke. I'll never be afraid of machines again. I think Cyan's supposed to deliver that line, but anyway, we found a machinery manual and a book of secrets. And if we check one more time, it'll say it's empty. It only ever does that once, but I figured I'd show it to you. Now let's go ahead and warp out of here. Because I don't want to walk all the way back through, even though I probably should. Alright, let's double check for Doomgaze's safety. We're good. What we're going to want to do now is find Cyan on the airship and throw him in our party, because I'm really tired of having Setzer in my party. And he's going to be over here. Looking at the machines. He says, what an amazing device. And yes, we're going to change party members. And because Cyan's going to be leading the charge to help us find Gao next, we're going to have him lead the party for now. And then we still have more fiddling to do, which is I'm going to go ahead and unequip Setzer. Those not now in your party. And then let's go ahead and throw the Genji glove on him, and Hyper wrist, maybe? Maybe running shoes? I suppose running shoes should be fine. Maybe I'll rethink that later. And we'll do 2 Tempests. And give him an Esper of some kind. Probably Bismarck, why not? He's still not quite done with it, so that seems fine to me. And we have one final thing to do with Cyan for this episode. So let's go ahead and lift off, and let's head back to Maranda and talk to Lola. Here we are. And this is going to conclude this storyline for right now. Lola says, I knew that these flowers and letters weren't sent by my boyfriend. I just didn't want to admit it. I was lying to myself, but I'm all right now. As I read those letters, the pain I felt in my heart became bearable. I'm sure whoever wrote them has suffered greatly. I wish I could meet him. And we say, actually, but Cyan intervenes. He shakes his head. And he says, look to the future. We have a lot of life left to live. And we're going to go ahead and have him exchange the letters. To the confession one, of course. And Lola says, I feel like I have a future now. I'll take your words to heart. I'll be okay. Oh, and that just warms my heart. What a satisfying conclusion to that little storyline. And our next destination, I think, is going to be the Veldt, where we can go look for Gao, but that's going to have to wait until next time, because I'm all out of time for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Final Fantasy Friday.